good evening. I wanted to get all these things to you guys so you would see them first thing Saturday morning. Um, YBIT, Coney, and Misty. Overall, it's pretty good. A lot of twists and turns to get there, but everything's looking good. So let me start with the least popular, YBIT, the Bitcoin derivative through BITO. All right, so what happened? It's starting to break out. I'll show that on the chart. So we're setting at 27.22. So it was up 2.76%. And the underlying YBIT was down 1.21. Well, why? Because we were capped, right? We had 25.50 and 26. And part of the problem is when you're flat for a while, Bitcoin through BITO was just in the 25s and 26 and almost doing nothing, going back and forth a little bit. So the volatility dies down just to collect, the 2%, get 34 cents a couple times in the week. They are writing conservative, 2%. Well, when Bitcoin and BITO decide to move, they move 5 or 6%. So they lose on those. They make up for it in the synthetic. So let me show you what all they did, which is super complicated, but I'll just show you how I sort of interpret and how I work with this. So when you see this kind of stuff, since this is a long stock synthetic and sell naked calls, the first pair here is, oh, whoops, sorry, I brought the wrong, that's the holdings, and I meant to bring what they call the intraday, the actual transaction. Sorry about that. Okay, because I use both of those. The holdings ended up telling me what it looks like when it's all done. This is the prices that they captured along the way when they sold and bought back things. So the first couple are a synthetic, right? They're out using the 621. There's a call and a put. This 10 really means nothing. It's a 35 synthetic. And what happens in spreadsheets, if I type 12 and I drag it down, a lot of times I get 13. It depends on what's preceding in the row. So these were in some spreadsheet and they quickly drag them down and, copy and paste it in somewhere. And that's what happened. So I ignore that part. I know it's a put at 35 and a call. They're 621. It reads year 24, month 6, day 21, right? Forget the 2 BITO. Again, that's just a number added because they drug it down. So all of this stuff happened. So I'm not going to bore you with everything, but I just want you to know what goes into all of this. So anybody thinking, oh, this would be simple to do. No, it's really not simple to do. There's quite a bit. If I didn't have all these sheets organized and together and labeled correctly, it still takes probably 30 to 45 minutes to do just a single one. And then obviously you have to have the expertise to explain it. So it starts with, why don't I take this pair first? Because the 26 was existing and the 35 was existing. But this was a longer one. We had just gotten the 35 open when we closed at 29. But when we get to payments, I'll explain to you why so many rolls. All right. So it all starts with they were behind the 8 ball with this 25.50 call and 26 call. So all their contracts were there. So if you go look at these, they're right here, right? They were expiring, buy to close, buy to close. So they had to buy back 3,000 at 170 and 170 contracts at $1.18. Well, that's a lot of cash for a small fund the size of this. So they took a big hit on that, right? Let's take a look at that on the sheet. Oh, actually, I didn't even put it here. but I will right now. So they put, even though I factored in what the result was, right? So this one is 1/7. It helps if I have a number date and not a date there. Let's just put number in there. And let's get this down to... Okay, and so this one was bought back at $1.18. Oh, you don't... Actually, I do want... What a mess. I don't need the zeros there, but they're not going to hurt me, but I need them in the other one, so I'll just go put them back in. Okay. Not going to change. What I did was I plugged in the number in a different spot over here. That's all. So that took us... do my work a little bit more over here. Why is that acting up? I apologize. I thought I had this all together. So I had just finished Coney and I thought I would knock this one out. Why is the call debit not multiplying correctly? So they bought, oh, it's a, ooh, hang on. They bought it back for 1.7. Yeah, that's the problem. Okay. There we go, finally. Okay, that's going to change my results in the totals, but that's all right. We want it, so you can see now, sorry about this taking so long. So that's 3,000 of them, they sold them for 34, so they collected 102,000. So when they had to pay $1.70 because they ran way by it, that cost them 510,000. So basically they lost 408,000. So that took us from a 26,000 gain to a 381,000 loss. I know it's a positive number. Positives are losses here, negatives are gains. So the next one is minor, right? 170 contracts. They still lost money. They lost 20,000 where they had been paid 5. So pretty significant. I knew that. I just thought I had placed that number somewhere else. So what they finally did on top of these is they took, and we'll get into synthetics in a minute. So they closed these. Now that they're gone, they want to write new positions, right? So they took, I don't even know why they broke this up, 40 cents and 40 cents, just write it all as one, right? If this was a lower number than the other one or higher, then you need to show it twice, right? But they don't really. So when I did it, I just showed it all at 3170 times 4. Okay. So we're back. Our running total then is a loss, but we reduced the loss by selling this. But this really hurt us. But we made some money on the synthetic. So let me show you those. Without all the, I don't really need this sheet because this is just too much detail. You want the summary. So what they did was they closed these guys, the 35. They closed the 26s, sell, buy to close, sell, buy to close. And then always when you open one, they went to a 36. And the reason they did this and got out of the other ones is so they could take some of the cash because they had paper wins, but they want to convert them to cash because they had to buy back those calls. So when you buy something for 19 cents and you sell short or you sell, you get $9.55. Now granted, they're doing that on a 36, so they got till June 21. Otherwise, they're going to lose money if they don't get to 36. But with Bitcoin potentially breaking out, remember, it's only, BITO is only at 27.22. So they need it to get up to 36. But if it does, then they get to keep all of that money, okay? And it's just one way of being able to pay the money, right? So let's be done with that, and let me go show you the synthetics as they rolled out of them. So on this one, they had a 2 million gain because they wrote it, but when they closed it out, they had to pay the piper. But look up here. They bought for 22 and sold for 10.21. So just in one day, they're able to only have to pay 846 back, right? And they could sell this for 25. So they did make some money on that net, right? But the way it works is we took it as a $2 million win, and then we had to take this. So now we're done with the 35, and then we rolled into a 36, right? And then here's what happened on the 26. The 26 we made money all along because we're above the 26, right? We're actually at 27.22 here. So on this one, we added some more money, right? We sold out and we have 192,000 gains. So those are all over on my sheet. So let's go back here to this. And as we go across, we can see the cash. All right. So let's look at weekly. So we got this new one. The only thing I don't like about it, we're sitting at 27, 22, and we wrote them all at 28. But part of the problem, there hadn't been volatility for them able to get much premium. So we got 126,800. If we want to keep all that, we need to stay below 28. Here's the chart I updated. Okay, we're breaking out, right? We closed above the line. If we stay and confirm on Monday, that signals that we probably will head on up to 35. We could move up to 32, pull back to, or move up to 29, come back and test the scene of the crime at 27. But bottom line is we should be moving up if we confirm the breakout. All right, so that's what that's worth. And the way they're playing and rolling up to the 36, it seems to me like they're seeing the same thing. So let's go see, let's just jump to payment, because this is all that matters now, right? So this, let me make sure, why is that 16? That's the sum of those two. Okay, that's a 146 positive. This should not be positive. This should be, this should be positive. But we have a nice synthetic, right? We're setting over here in our synthetic. That's positive. We got $2.55. I'm not sure with this. Oh, I know what it was. This number is not collecting. This number is not collecting the right. It's P16. Let me fix this. And it should be no, it's P16. And that's a positive. Okay. Why is that not showing the cash on the payment? Net income, I get it, it's $1,082,000, so that's the 255. But with this being a positive number, this should also be positive. Did I do anything? Equals C3 divided by E3 equals C3 divided by E3. Let's see what we get. Okay, that's what had to happen. I knew there was something. Okay, so we've stayed, yeah, okay, this is exactly, when you know something's wrong, you got to go back and figure out if something didn't copy or drag right. Okay, so explaining all this, we are cash poor with 23 cents in weekly income. This needs to be corrected to say we're with a loss, right? With a 63-cent loss. We're cash poor in our weekly income, but rich in our synthetic income at that got dropped at 255. Okay, so this, I'm sorry about that, but better to be completely accurate on your time. Okay, so the situation is we always want to have income here, and that should be a negative number, right? A negative number is income. So we have $2.55 earned, not just paper value, in the synthetic. But they like to pay on this income, and this needs to be a negative number. Now we can get there in a couple weeks and get this negative, right, by winning these weeklies. So my guess is we're going to get paid $1.50 or $1.80 and now this is slightly altered, okay, because 60 cents has to come out of here. They split the $2 and they give us $1. So right now I would amend this to say this is $1 to maybe $1.20 based on if they had to do it right now, okay? But we could, and now I'm going to be more conservative and just say we could get a $2 distribution. See, part of the problem is you make it in your synthetic when you roar, right? If we run up to 35, and if we get to 30 this coming week, then we take another big loss. So it's the yin and the yang offsetting each other. So one of the things I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start giving you guys alternatives to say, hey, if you're in YBIT or you're in Coney and you can see that we're going to get capped on our weeklies, but we think the underlying is going to run, I'm going to give you something else to buy to hedge, you know, your downturn in this example of YBIT. So YBIT's not going to perform as well. It's still going to give you income regardless. But if you bought it at 20 and it's at 16 and you want to protect yourself from going to 15, even though you're going to keep getting decent income, then there's some other hedges that I can show you guys that don't cost a lot of money that you can make money on when we think we know the direction. Okay? So just wanted to, sorry for this long, that's the situation here. So I'm going to say goodbye and get on to my other videos. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. It's fun and education. Okay, see you guys. Look for Coney and Misty coming soon.